What am I going to do today to change what I see in this mirror? What am I going to do today? And a lot of it was I stopped sitting with the cool guys. I actually tucked my shirt in and went to school looking like, hey man, this is how I'm going to look. If you don't like it, so be it. I had to really wear this layer of skin. I had to develop a really callous skin on me to take whatever you're going to call me, you're going to call me. Whatever I'm going to be, I wasn't a geek, but whoever I am, you're going to see me. You're going to see me for who I am, because I need to change who I'm not. They want to say, oh, don't call yourself fat. Don't call yourself dumb. If you're not real and raw with who you are, nothing's going to change. And in this nice new world that we live in, we want to hear, you're just a little big. No, man, you might be fat. And it's okay to hear that from yourself and from everybody else. So that's where it started at. And it's raw. It gets ugly sometimes with me in the mirror, but I'm also proud of myself to be able to tell myself that and then fix what's in that mirror. Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself. How you address it is you face it. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life. Where you say, okay, like if you're fat and you need to lose weight, it's patience. It's patience in this fact of accepting who you are right now. I'm fat, I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have to live in your own world. You cannot judge yourself. That's why social media and all these things are horrible. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. The things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable? And I mean to the T for what you're saying. I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth.
But how did you stop feeling sorry for yourself?
When you really sit back at your life and you are in that dark room and you're looking at where you started from and you tell yourself, God, dog, man, my mom is this way, my stupid stepdad got murdered, my dad beat the shit out of me, I can't read and write to save my fucking soul, I've lied about it to everybody, I've cheated on all these tests. My God, man. And then you put a goal in your mind. How are you gonna feel, man, when you accomplish this goal coming from that shit? Coming from the hell you came from. A lot of people start from a good starting point. They have a good foundation. What if you can surpass all of these motherfuckers? What if everybody who was way up here started up here, and you started with no legs. You had to grow legs to even start walking, and then crawling, and then running. And then you start passing people and all this given to them. I had to use all this negative shit that was making me weak and horrible as a person. I had to use this as the power that now fueled me. I had to flip it on its head and say, hold up, this might be exactly what I need. The darkness is exactly what I need. It's how you look at your situation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. People have a hard thing to understand. I hate to run. And what makes me so crazy, it doesn't anymore, people go, well, why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat either. I hate that too. That's life, man. It wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. I hated going to school, so guess what? I was dumb as shit. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. That's what people understand. By me running, I am callous in my mind. I'm not training for a race. I'm training for life.
for people that see someone who's a beast, who's done great things, you just assume that they're different than you.
Right.
But then you hear about your insecurities and your pitfalls and all the things that went wrong with you, and you realize, well, God damn it, those are the same things that go wrong with me. Like, maybe I have that inside of me and I've just never summoned it.
Right. And I'll tell you this, I started really realizing that when I started overcoming myself, I started getting around these real alpha males, these hard men. And I always put people way above me when I was growing up. Like, my God, they had to have a lot more than me to get to where they're at. And a lot of them did. But once you get around the best of the best of the best people, you can kind of start breaking them down and realizing, man, you're just as fucked up as me. Like we all have, but all you did was you hit it better. So it started giving me courage through watching people that we all have a story. We all have a jacked up life in one way or another. Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it though. And that's where I found the guts to talk about mine. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so fucked up, it was so wrong, it was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare, a whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, guys. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles, it was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, nah, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You had the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad loved them. They didn't have to learn, they didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what now, from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that. The worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I was a character. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. I was off, man. I was a clown. I was a clown, and I was like, this is not where you're supposed to be in life, man. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callous over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I gotta start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's gonna build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't wanna do that. So I made this long list of things I don't wanna do. And through that, I found myself. I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I gotta start facing the struggle, and I gotta be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up with, like, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for, like, to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through this, through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
Where I came from growing up, I cared about what everybody thought about David Goggins. Oh my God, please accept me, please love me, because that's gonna make me feel better because I wasn't loved as a child. When you go on a journey of life and you figure out who the fuck you are, you don't give a damn who the hell the Joneses, the Adams, you can all go somewhere and have a good time. You know who you are, so you don't care about the external shit. I care 100%. So on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 100. About, I want to see my internal, and always my internal. That means everything, because that's the thing that matters. If you matter to yourself, you don't care about anything else. The biggest skill, the biggest thing in the world to master is the internal part of a person's life. And it's your life. It's not about, it's your life. Master it. Become internal. That's it. It's everything.
It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the fuck after it every daggone day. Stay hard. Your mind has a tactical advantage over you at all times. It knows your weaknesses, it knows your strengths, and it will guide you into your nice comfort zone. We have to reprogram our mind to get a different vantage point, so then you know how to be in charge of yourself versus your mind being in charge of you. But let's say I'm training for a 100-mile race, and I get to mile 50, and I feel like and like everybody else, my mind gets soft. Why? Because I'm human. I'm not some damn, hybrid creature that was formed from the heavens above. No, not. Human. I suffer, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it. So my mind starts to get weak, and we start to forget about how badass we are. So basically what I do here is you have to make sure that your mind doesn't become spastic. When it's suffering, when it's in pain, all it wants to do is find the easy way out, which is usually quit. If you quit, the pain goes away immediately. You gotta give yourself enough energy and fuel in your mind to stay just a little bit longer so you can talk yourself into staying for the whole thing. And this is how it works. Most of us never start anything cold. If you're gonna go to college, you gotta study your ass off. But what happens is, in that moment where we need self-talk, when we're failing and we're in our worst spot possible, we forget all the build-up to where we're at today. We forget how much work we put in. We forget that we put years, maybe not into making these dials, but to getting where you're at today.
To become this person.
To become this person, to be in a position to make this money, or whatever you want to make, whatever you want to do in your life. We forget that. We forget that journey on what it took for us to get in this moment to make the right decision. So my self-talk is this: okay, I want to get the f out of here, man. I'm done. Then I remember this. You ran 2,000 miles training to be in this moment right now. Mm-hmm. We forget that. We forget the 3 o'clock in the morning runs or getting up early for work or whatever you're doing. We forget all that. In that moment of suffering, I remind myself, I only have 50 more miles. I put in 6 months of training. So what I do, my self-talk is basically going back down memory lane of all those up days. I ran the rain, or I had to study real late at night, and I didn't want to do it, but I did it to get here. I wanted to get here. Yeah. Now you're here, and now you want to quit? So you gotta be mindful, but this thing about it, if you haven't put in any hard work to reflect on, all this positive talk, it doesn't work if it's a lie. Like, if you didn't study for your big exam, and you go into it saying, I'm gonna pass it, no, you're not. Yeah. You're gonna fail it. That self-talk is not gonna work. Self-talk without real work is just a lie. So my self-talk is me reminiscing back on the struggle to get to this moment. And that tells me we're not quitting today. Not today.
So we all have this nice list of things that we kind of shy away from in life.
My big thing about being mentally strong is you have to pick those things you don't want to do and start to check them off the box, man. It's so easy just to go to that nice comfort zone, the path of least resistance, so then your mind starts to get more and more weak, weaker and weaker and weaker. And you wonder, why the fuck am I not getting tougher? Because you're choosing this nice, happy path with nice, comfortable beds and all sort of shit over here on this side. Over here is that side that we fear. You gotta make that fear list over here, start to conquer it, start to overcome it, start to callous your mind, dig into all these different things, and that's how you do it, man.
You really need to go create a situation where you sink or swim, and you'll learn how to swim. You've got to place yourself in the midst of a storm, and it's got to be a self-created storm. Otherwise, most people have to wait till the shit comes crumbling down before they take action in life. I'm inviting you to create a shitstorm for yourself so that you will be motivated by the wolf crying at the door, by the dog nipping at your ass, by the fire under your ass. All right, dude? So there's no nice way to do this, right? Rip the fucking Band-Aid off. Throw yourself off the cliff and learn how to fly on the way down.
We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. I was trying to look for it everywhere. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim and you're drowning. Where you're drowning. You're drowning in life. But you say, you know what, man? Fuck that. I'm gonna figure out how to fucking backstroke or fucking something. The only way I believe, this is my experience in life, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mine. Every single one of them. Think about it. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up. Think about it. Every single day, your mind is one that tells you, get up. And your feelings like, an extra 30 minutes, just roll it. Don't worry about it. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings.
Those days when I'm tired or worn out or just basically sick of the grind. What do I do on those days? I go anyways. I get it done, even if I'm just going through the motions. I go through the motions. I don't really want to work out. I work out. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed. I get up and get out of bed. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Shut that door. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed. And by simply going through the motions, you overcame that path. And you stayed on the righteous path, the disciplined path. You stayed on the war path. Which is right where you know